Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to another entry in our Community Cast series. In this match, we're going to have a showdown between Professor Pone, who's going to be playing the Empire led by the Emperor Karl Franz, and he's going to be facing off against the Gobbo King, who's going to be playing the Dwarfs led by Grombrindle, the White Dwarf. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So for Professor Pone in the front line, it looks like he does have a couple groups of greatswords, I think 2 in total. In the center, he's going to be anchoring his formation with the Sigmar Sons, which is definitely not a bad idea. They'll definitely trade pretty effectively with like miners and dwarf warriors and low tier troops like that, and they're unbreakable. So if your army is very dependent upon its backline, and it looks like it is. So he has handgunners, he has the Hammer of the Witches back here. He also has a mortar, which will be interesting to see how that does. But at the very least, the Sigmar Sons will hold and buy your backline, a fair amount of time. Great swords here for some armor piercing. They'll definitely do well against most dwarf troops. Obviously, they don't do well versus other elite troops for the most part, but their combat stats are just a little bit low with 32 melee attack and 30 melee defense. But they still do a decent job against miners, dwarf warriors. Probably would, I'm pretty sure they would beat Longbeards with great opens. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think they do. He has some spearmen with shields on the outsides of the formation. Karl Franz up in the air with Golem Raz and the Reikland Runefang. So he's just going hard in the paint, just balls deep in these items here. So the Runefang is going to be giving him, as well as nearby enemy or allied troops, 26 melee attack and leadership. And Golem Raz is going to be giving 40% AP. So if he activates this and gets like a really good alpha strike on dwarf lords and heroes, he can kill them really quick. It looks like handgunners here, so not bringing the silver bullets. He does have spearmen in the back, a Jade Wizard for healing, which I definitely think is pretty essential if you're going to be having great swords in your front line, and a Witch Hunter here. Witch Hunters are really good, just incredibly good against dwarves. I think they're one of the secret weapons. I mean, good AP on their missiles. Unfortunately, it does do magic damage, but Accusation is also really good. And you guys saw the artillery. He does have Demogryph Knights with the lances back here, or yeah, it looks like they have lances. So these guys are just a dedicated anti-infantry variant of the Demogryph Knights. So as long as the Dawi don't have like cannons or artillery shooting them, they can do a lot of work. For the Dwarves and the Gobbo King, he's got Uncle Gromby with the Flash Bomb, and it looks like he does. So they're just going all out with the items this game. He does have the Rune Axe of Grombrindle. Got a front line of Dwarf Warriors here, supported by a couple groups of Longbeards with great weapons. Obviously, a countermeasure against the great swords. Yeah, great. And I don't know if he has a Runesmith to kind of support them. It looks like he has a Thane and actually a Master Engineer. So of course, the Gobbo King one, who's known for his memes here, he does have the Master Engineer. Maybe he's going to be providing his aura to the Iron Drakes here. So he does have the Ballistics Calibration, which will increase the accuracy of the Iron Drakes. So I really look forward to seeing how he uses these guys. And Iron Drakes, if they can get some decent shots on like lightly armored state troops, they can probably do a little bit of damage. So he does have 2 Iron Drakes here. He's got miners in the back, 2 groups of Slayers. I think one of them is going to be Giant Slayers against Demogryph Knights. Actually 3, so 1 on the far side. So yeah, this is going to be a good one. So without further ado, let's see how it goes. So right here, the Dawi forces are advancing here, and you can see the Empire Artillery, the Hammer of the Witches, is shooting in. Let's see what they're targeting. So we're going to go ahead and watch here for a second. Hammer of the Witches is not obstructed, so it should fire here in just a moment. It looks like it is going to be shooting at Longbeards with great weapons, which is good. Very helpful for kind of ensuring that his greatswords will have a better fight in the front line. But Grombrindle just leading the charge, just popping Foe Seeker, doing everything he can to get there ahead of his army. So a little bit risky. He could be taking some focus fire from handgunners, the Witch Hunter, as well as an alpha strike from Karl Franz, which could be relatively dangerous. And I also want to see where the mortar's shooting. That's an interesting pick. I mean, mortars could potentially do really good damage against like Bugman's Rangers and well, not really good, but some damage in Slayers as well. So let's see if they're targeting the Slayers. So it looks like they're shooting in, and yeah, he's just going all in on those Longbeards. But mortars have really bad armor piercing, which you would think the mortars would like kill anything. It doesn't matter about armor, right? But the Master Engineer is going to be shooting in, taking some pot shots. He does pick off, it looks like 3 greatswords. Grombrindle getting a little aggressive here, just charging in. He's just got a grudge direction, as they say, and you can see that Karl Franz is going to be swooping in, engaging. Karl gets the initial attack. Flash Bomb does go off, which is going to slow Karl and lower his melee defense, but Grombrindle still just charging past to these greatswords. He pops the Rune Axe of Grombrindle, and he has no fear, making his whole army unbreakable. Man, really aggressive Gromby play. I think it's a little bit risky. Karl Franz is just going to lay an absolute whooping on him right now. It looks like he hasn't popped any items yet, so he's being a little bit conservative here. And you can see that the Iron Drake's going down, roasting some of these greatswords, but I think a lot of the damage on those greatswords was from the Master Engineer. But I guess if there's 2 of them, it could roast these guys. Takes out a couple models. Obviously, Iron Drakes don't do the best against like armor, but if they switch and shoot at the Sigmar Sons, that can be really rough. So here come the Iron Drakes. I know that's what you guys are paying big money to see here. So Sigmar Sons kind of pushing in. The Iron Drakes are going to be turning to the Sigmar. They do a little bit of damage. That's 2 groups. It takes them down to almost about 50%. So if they're able to just get that stream just steady, I mean, it seems to do okay. Sigmar Sons, of course, are unbreakable. They're enduring. Now they're engaged with miners and whatnot. But over here, it's looking a little bit rough for the Dwarves. Grombrindle is actually shattered. He has 27 HP. The Emperor Karl Franz with the Reikland Runefang buffing up his greatswords here. So they're going to make quick work of these Dwarf Warriors, because that does address one of their big weaknesses, which are their low combat stats. So with 58 melee attack, they're going to just make mincemeat of these Dwarf Warriors. Over here on the far side, we have the Slayers flanking. So the Dwarven Cav attacking these Spearmen with shields, doing a pretty good job, obviously. But they're taking damage in return. But once they get through these spearmen, if you look, there's not much left for the Empire to defend this back line. So these handgunners are going to be good targets. The mortar will definitely get shut down. And obviously the Slayers are going to fight till the bitter end. They're not going to go quietly until the good night. So Karl Franz coming back here. It looks like he's going to be disrupting the Iron Drakes. The ballistics calibration and entrenchment has been popped, giving them physical resist. Karl Franz definitely going to do a good job here. And the Sigmar Suns survived the flamethrower attacks, and I feel like Iron Drake should be tuned up a little bit. Like those like steady flamethrower attacks on those Sigmar Suns should have definitely roasted them, I think, or at least like almost finished them off. Anyways, not doing much against Karl Franz because of his armor, but the Iron Drake's still getting some decent, withering fire here. Looks like some miners are going to be going to intercept these Sigmar Suns as they keep roasting Karl. And you can see, yeah, I guess if he just sits there and takes it, it does about like 200 or 300 damage. I mean, if those were Trollhammer torpedoes, Karl would be almost dead right now. But a pretty cool stuff seeing Gobbo King make these guys work relatively well. But anyways, the Karl Franz is going to be pulling back up into the air, not wanting to get roasted anymore. Slayers are still pressuring the flanks. It looks like some Greatswords were able to intercept Dwarf Warriors who are trying to sneak around. This is definitely going to favor the Greatswords pretty heavily with their bonus versus infantry and armor piercing. Some of the handgunners are also falling back, but these Slayers lurk in the shadows. 18 Slayers is definitely going to be enough to probably take out these guys with their 17 melee defense. That's going to be rough, but man, really good stuff from Professor Pone so far with Karl Franz. Just hunting all the Dwarf Lords with his items. So Golem Raz popped, giving him 40% armor piercing damage. He's up to 628, which is pretty huge, and the Witch Hunter, of course, has good AP, and it looks like he is shooting his pistol. So I would say that, Professor Pone is certainly doing very well in the leadership battle. He's taking out the Lords, but the Gobbo King's forces are slowly starting to crunch in here, and a lot of Pone's army was dependent on its ranged tools. And even though it looks like Pone has like a really clear advantage right now, his front line is starting to get worn down, and a lot of his troops are kind of, I wouldn't say overextending. These Sigmar Sons are paying their dues. They're getting roasted for Sigmar, that's for sure. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit tough, because once his back line starts to get compromised, the balance of power is going to start shifting, and it's going to put a massive burden on Karl Franz to really kind of clean things up here. So the Witch Hunter with the 360 no-scope is going to be running, popping the Stain, and you can see he's going to be running. But the Dwarf Warriors have finally gotten through, so the Jawi, just with just so much grudging going on right here, they're going to be charging into the cannon crew, and that is a lot of money gone. This Hammer of the Witches is going to be decimated, and that's what, like 1,100, 1,200. That one cannon blasting the Dwarves in the face as they try and take it out, which is pretty insane. Karl Franz with Foe Seeker, going to be working on the Longbeards, but, he's probably going to be wanting to assassinate the Master Engineers and go after these guys here. But here comes the flames. Karl Franz with the Matrix dodging, just flying up and through the fire. Quite epic there, and he's going to be landing on these Dwarf Warriors. These are not Iron Breakers, whatever. Iron Drakes, whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. Him and his bird are going to go in there. I'm just like totally Deathclaw. Deathclaw's doing a good job. Deathclaw's taking out the Iron Drakes, but the Master Engineer can kind of just sit here with his ballistics calibration and just kind of poke Karl with his good AP. And, these Iron Drakes will kind of wear him down. Obviously not as much damage to the Trollhammer torpedoes, but the back line for Pone is just pure anarchy. There's a group of, is this one Slayer? There's literally one Slayer attacking these handgunners here. What a beast. It looks like these Great Swords are chasing down these Slayers as well, but the Gobbo King, always pretty on top of his micro here, is going to be moving the Slayers up and around, probably trying to hunt some other targets, maybe get on the Witch Hunter or something else. But this is very good for Professor Pone here. He's able to get his handgunners back. He's probably going to turn about face here and start shooting at some high-value targets. So, a very close game. Balance of power has crept back towards the middle. You can see some of these spearmen just being absolutely roasted by those Iron Drakes, which is pretty cool. They're up to 56 kills. It's got to be a record for what I've seen in the channel in quite some time. But they're roasting those guys, those state troops. Karl Franz coming in with the Rifle and Runefang and, decimating these Iron Drakes. And he's easily going to be able to take out this Master Engineer if he is so inclined, if he wants to switch. Granted, he still might be taking fire from Iron Drakes, a little bit risky, so we'll see what the mighty Professor Pone decides to do. Gobbo King just fighting tooth and nail to get back into this game. It looks like Gobbo King may have secured a bit of a balance of power advantage here. The miners fighting these Great Swords, obviously not going to go well, but Pone does have another battle line here, so he's gotten his handgunners back into this crevice, this valley here. And the Witch Hunters and company, man, look at that Witch Hunter just taking out 3 of those Dwarves with one shot. Handgunners here are going to be falling back, and he's forming a bit of a firing concave, which is going to be great. And you can see these Longbeards really getting taken out. But there are a ton of Dwarves, and the Giant Slayers coming in with the full-on grudge reactions, and they're trying to get on Karl Franz, but he pops the Foe Seeker and slips away. And it looks like Karl's going to be going after the Master Engineer here. So Karl just laying a whooping on the Master Engineer, but the Giant Slayer's hot on, in pursuit here. And it looks like Pone's going to commit. He's going to pop Golem Raz. He's going to stay on this target, try and finish him off. But again, Giant Slayers hit like absolute trucks against large armor targets. So once they get their surround there, you can see a couple of those attacks instantly doing like 500 HP. But Pone does get the Master Engineer, so there's some give and take there. Karl Franz getting away with 300 HP, and the Dwarves don't really have too much range aside from these Iron Drakes here, which are going to be roasting the Great Swords as they charge in. I guess it does have a leadership penalty, so the Discourage could be good. If not, the damage isn't going to be insane. And it looks like the Great Swords do get broken there. So very, very good stuff from the Gobbo King, making those Iron Drakes work for him. And over here you can see that the Karl Franz is looking for a home, but it looks like he's going to break off, which is unfortunate. But Pone still has a ton of handgunners. Granted, line of sight could be an issue, especially if the Dwarves just start pressuring right now before they get up and over the hill. So the Witch Hunter is going to be advancing. It looks like he has a relative amount of ammunition. If he can get an accusation here on this Master Engineer, that could be really good. However, the Master Engineer is a little bit far away, and accusation does have a very short range. You can see the handgunners of Professor Pone have taken the high ground, but the dwarves are rapidly advancing. The miners, 58 of them. I mean, miners are definitely pretty weak in melee combat, but they're stronger than handgunners with their 80 armor. So the miners, the proud Dawi, are going to be charging down the hill, led by the commanding orders of the Gobbo King, and they are going to be pushing off those handgunners, which is going to be a little bit tough. And then the Iron Drakes, just with their inexorable advance here, are going to be gunning down those handgunners with their leadership penalty. It looks like just a single plume of fire comes and toasts that handgunner, and it looks like he's going to be running as well. So I don't blame him. So all of a sudden, the balance of power very heavily in the favor of the Gobbo King. This Witch Hunter just like, you know, in the movies when there's like, I guess you could say like Last Samurai, you know, when they know they've lost the battle, it's like the final charge. The dwarves caring not for collateral damage, which seems a little bit strange for them, but roasting some of their own Dawi in here, which is a little bit unfortunate. These guys got nothing on. They got no shirts. They're just taking this fire like champs, but yeah, Witch Hunter is like doing like the Last Samurai charge, you know, with like the Gatling guns like firing. He knows he's going to get taken down, but he's going in to try and finish off this Master Engineer here. But the Iron Drake's coming in and getting some solid roasting on the Witch Hunter. In the back, there's some handgunners and great swords and whatnot, but for the most part, that's probably going to be all she wrote. Some of the great swords coming back in, fighting valiantly to defend the retreat of their handgunners, but that is going to be it. So what a great game between Professor Pone and the Gobbo King. Both of them trying some strange stuff for sure. Like I haven't seen mortars be used terribly often. The rest of Pone's army was pretty solid, but the mortar is something I haven't seen too much in this matchup. I feel like it's not very good, but it's fun to try. I mean, obviously they were probably messing around a little bit, but Gobbo King, obviously a very, very good high-level player, was able to make these Iron Drakes actually work pretty well. But yeah, I mean, the whole argument regarding the Iron Drakes is like, had he had like Trollhammer torpedoes, would he have just won faster? Who knows? Yeah, it's hard to say. But the Trollhammer torpedoes definitely do pretty well against Empire to an extent, but they can take a lot of focus fire from handgunners. But that was a really close battle. Super well played to both players. I really thought Gobbo King was in trouble when Karl Franz just went balls deep in the beginning and just took out Grombrindle in like a couple seconds. That was insane with the Witch Hunter support. But Gobbo King just tenacious, just fighting tooth and nail to get back into that game with some flanking from the Slayers and some good old Iron Drake play, which was really cool seeing that in action. So definitely a treat there. So if you guys haven't seen their channels, Professor Pone streams occasionally. All jokes aside, we just kind of, he streams every now and then. So if you guys are looking for Total War streams and Blood Bowl streams in our Blood Bowl League, make sure to go check out Pone's channel. There will be a link in the comment section below. And the Gobbo King, of course, you guys have seen him on the channel many times. And if you haven't, make sure to mosey on over to his channel. There will be a link in the comment section below. He streams quite a bit. So if you guys are looking for active streams and everything, quick battles and tournament play, he definitely is a very, very good source for that. And on that note of streaming, one of the main reasons I haven't been streaming as much is because in California right now, we're just having like perpetual heat waves. And you guys have probably noticed like little cuts in some of my battles. Well, a lot of times my fan will just go ballistic in my computer and like it interrupts, like it can be picked up on the microphone and it's really obnoxious. So the problem is like streaming for like an hour and a half in this temperature, my fans just go ballistic. They're perpetually overheating and it's literally been, 110, 108 degrees here. And, in the house, it's going to be really hot even with air conditioning. So it's been a little bit tough to stream and play for long periods of time without the fans going crazy if I'm running both the OBS software as well as Total War. But fear not, the streams will be coming back in the fall, probably in like late August, September. We'll be getting back to regular streams because my lovely Lady Turin and I are going to be kind of resetting up our whole apartment here, finding a better situation for the computers in regards to airflow and stuff. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this showdown between the mighty Professor Pone and the Gobbo King. This was definitely one for the ages. We will see you guys next time.